I do comedy, so I perform and produce comedy events in Bangkok.
I spent 4 years living in Thailand, so while I was there, Chris was one of my best friends.
Would you rather that every Sunday for the rest of your life you have to attend a 3-hour male-only furry convention and you have to try to have fun? You can't go there and be a cynic. You have to like actually engage, or you're only allowed to use the bathroom in a public porta potty.
Interesting.
What's poppin', everybody?
Welcome back to the Cold Podcast.
I'm Zoe.
And I'm Steve.
And today we're just going to do a quick interview. If you guys have been watching the last few episodes, we've had our esteemed guest on, Chris, who has been participating in a lot of our videos, really great guy. So we're going to go ahead and give you all a chance to really get to know him personally.
So Chris, man, what are you typically doing in Bangkok?
Well, I do comedy, so I perform and produce comedy events in Bangkok. I run a room called Raw Comedy. It's every Wednesday at Sportsman's Bar, Sukhumvit 13. Come check it out if you're in downtown Bangkok. And then I also try to pop out and do shows. Like last year, I did a ton of shows in other cities around Thailand. And by day, at the moment, I teach science. That's my day job. Before, we just did comedy full time. When I lived with Steve on Khao San, so that was like our job. We made a living by selling tickets to shows and performing shows every single night. And then we lived in a hotel room on Khao San Road together.
The same room.
Wild.
No.
Yeah. bunk beds.
Yeah, we shared a bed. No, so for anyone that didn't know, I mean, this is a little bit of a in-depth little background on me as well. I spent 4 years living in Thailand. So while I was there, Chris was one of my best friends. We met through the comedy scene. Of course, Chris was like the host of the first open mic I ever performed at. And after that, we eventually just started doing comedy on Khao San Road, which is like one of the biggest party streets in the entire world.
Definitely.
And at the time, man, it was like surreal how many strange people we met.
Yeah.
Like just like in the comedy scene, outside the comedy scene, on Khao San Road, everyone was like either drunk or a weirdo or like something was going on with them.
Yeah, there was a few guys that were locked on and they were cool, but for every one of those guys, there was like there's a handful of weirdos that are just hilarious. Good people, but
a lot of them were good people, but it's like it's almost like the Lost Boys. Like there's just like you go out into that far out world where all these different foreigners. Because like we were living in Thailand, but a lot of my life wasn't like involving Thai people. It's like when you're involved with like a bunch of the different foreigners and expats, it's like there's a lot of people that are out there like escaping something, I guess.
Yeah,
so
a little bit of that stuff, definitely, or running away for something.
So like, who was like your favorite character out of you met? Like I know one of mine was the Pussy Man. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, Pussy Man!
Yeah, there was like this guy.
Oh,
I mean, he was like
I forgot about Pussy Man.
Like part of working on Khao
I
San
really
Road.
want to know about this guy.
Part of working on Khao San Road at the comedy club was that we would have to pass out flyers all day. Right? Passing out flyers all day to like thousands of people. And there was this guy who was like, unfortunately he was like a special needs guy, but he wasn't like so far gone. He wasn't like so far on the special needs end.
He could function.
Yeah, he was like functioning like super autistic. But he would always walk up to me and he'd be like, "How much do you get paid?" And I'd be like, "I get paid in pussy." And then he just didn't know it because he was a Thai guy. He didn't know what pussy was. So anyway, he just walked up to me. He just started walking up to me and said, "Pussy." Like he would ask me for pussy all the time.
Can I get some pussy?
Yeah, like can I have some pussy?
God.
Like instead of asking me for money, he was like, "Oh, pussy must mean money." So I just started calling him Pussy Man. He was one of my favorite guys.
But he, what his job was, he would pass out flyers for this vegan restaurant, and he would go up to people and say, like, "Can I have some pussy?"
Yeah.
Can I have some pussy? And he'd pass out these, and it was just hilarious.
Yeah, no one ever corrected him. Eventually, he did figure it
hilarious.
out, though. I think someone like finally told him what was up.
He just like looked at you like,
Yeah,
you messed up my business.
it was
man.
just never the same after that. Yeah, he just wouldn't talk to me anymore, man. Poor Pussy Man. And it's funny because he probably never got any pussy ever.
Wow.
Never.
He's still out there asking for pussy to this day. He's still out there on the street.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris. Chris, I got a question for you to kind of get to know you a little better.
Sure.
Okay. Would you rather that every Sunday for the rest of your life you have to attend a 3-hour male-only furry convention and you have to try to have fun? You can't go there and be a cynic. You have to like actually engage and
Try to get laid.
Yeah, you have to try to like really be a part of the community.
Okay.
Or would you rather once again for the rest of your life, every Monday through Wednesday, so 3 consecutive days, you're only allowed to use the bathroom in a public porta potty?
Oh, interesting. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'd go. You know what? I would do the furry thing, and I would just own it and try to be like the king of furries.
Yeah,
And I would get all the furry pussy, baby. Let's go.
no, bro. There's
Furry
only
man
pussy
pussy.
there.
All
You
the
don't get-
I would fuck all the dry hump everybody. I'll do that.
There you go.
yeah.
Got my persona.
I actually got one. I
What would,
actually
your,
got
what would your persona be? Because now you got to be a part of it. If you had to do it,
I don't know. A
a
persona.
gay cat.
Yeah.
A cat.
What would that be?
A tiger. Are they tigers?
you could be a tiger.
I'll be a tiger.
Okay.
That's a formidable animal.
Yeah, there you go.
I'd be like a poodle or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, while we're on them, basically, I mean, I would ask another. Would you rather? Would you rather be a clone or a reptilian?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like personally,
Yeah, personally, like I know you're really into like different.
reptilian, huh?
Yeah.
I'd rather like the Anunnaki. I'd rather be like an Anunnaki actually. To be honest. That's why we're talking about reptilians. I don't know. I think a clone or a reptilian. A clone of who?
You're a clone of because you died.
My own clone?
Now you're a clone.
You're your own clone.
Like you're like a 60-year-old.
Do I have my own memories and stuff?
As much as a clone could have, I guess. You have to do the test tube thing that you were talking about in that other episode. Though.
Does he
like,
know
you have to
they're
be
not
switch from test tube to test tube.
Is he like he knows they're not his?
No, you're not necessarily aware that you're a clone until they like change your batteries.
Do I have to compete with like another clone that's like me somewhere?
No.
No. You're like a clone like the celebrity clone, like when the Illuminati kills somebody and then replaces Kanye
Oh,
West.
I would totally be that. Yeah, totally. 100%. I'd rather be a clone than a reptilian
I
thing.
love the amount of detail.
Because I got to learn how to be. I'd have to learn how to be a reptilian, and like I'd have to like start from zero.
Right.
But I already kind of know how to be me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you,
you gotta
got,
climb
you
the
got
ladder.
the,
That'd
the
be easier.
coding already there for you.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like I would probably. It'd be easier to get pussy if I wasn't a lizard, you know.
At least you got your priorities straight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good answer.
So one of the really interesting things about being in Thailand was this guy Jonathan.
Oh yes, yeah, dude, John. So John says so. John was the guy that ran our club on Khao San, and John. So he came to Thailand like more than a decade ago, and he was in movies. He was like in a Thai movie that was a big hit, and basically since that time he's kind of been riding that wave of quote unquote celebrity status and trying to hedge that for publicity and fame. So he's always like constantly promoting himself. And just to get you an idea what John is, John's a good guy at heart, but he's a kind of a fat dude. He wears a Hawaiian shirt. He's got camouflage pants and Crocs, and he's got a baseball hat. He's got long hair. He's a total character. And he's also Jewish. Not that that's important, but that is what it is. So
It really put
that's
a
kind of
lot
how we
of
kind of
Yeah.
But he's a fun dude.
He's a
I
large
How
Jewish
do you
man.
spell his name? It's like Jonathan, not like G.
Yeah.
It's Jon.
I was
We can
thinking
write it
like
down for you to look
John.
at. But yes,
Like John, like Jan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so he's a character, man.
He's not
I absolutely him as a character. I absolutely love him. But he was just so entertaining as a character. But like in a management position, working under him, it was a different story, and
Hellish.
I couldn't enjoy him as a character as much because he was in charge of like paying us and stuff like that. So it was just different. It was kinda
It's
difficult.
definitely hard to have
Yeah.
someone like John as a boss because he's like, honestly, like he's sort of living that life where he's like, Hawaiian shirt guy, living this life of like low responsibility, and like he just shows up somewhere to be a big fat American guy
Yeah,
on,
seems like
on TV.
John's, yeah.
Sounds like he's like the type of guy that looks like he's always on vacation.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's been on a
Yeah.
15-year
Except
vacation.
when you see his feet, and then you're like, oh God.
Is he anything like Chris Farley?
Kind of.
I
But he's got less
guess.
energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Like
guess.
just visually.
Yeah, visually. Yeah, he's,
Yeah, I mean, body wise.
he's
But
like,
like not
big
as
and-
awesome or funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
yeah. John's kind of like Chris Farley, except Chris Farley probably
Yeah.
had more than 10 jokes.
But
that he could do.
to John's credit, John was a comedian, right? And like he's a stand up, and he does, to his credit, he does definitely have a solid like hour of material that he'll run through, and like it worked, and he was a good host, and he showed up every day and did the job. So to his credit, like I give him mad props for that always. I can't take that away from him ever.
Yeah,
But
you can do a solid hour.
yeah, whatever. But he was
Solid
but
45.
he also gave us this opportunity to just work and do comedy full time,
Yeah.
which is like I'm super grateful for, and it helped me become a way better comedian to just be immersed in that every single day. Same with Steve,
Yeah.
and to just live and breathe that day in and day out. And we became better at everything basically when it
Yeah.
comes to comedy.
But it was weird because like being in that position, with him as the boss, it was hard because it was hard to like see him as a friend and a boss. So
Sure.
like, and a lot of time he would sometimes like take advantage of certain things, and like obviously like any boss that doesn't necessarily know what they're doing can be a boss.
Yeah.
Like I feel like at heart, John's more of just a comedian and
Exactly.
actor. He's not
Yeah.
like a businessman.
He's an artist, yeah.
So the artist part of
Artiste.
it would definitely conflict with
artist.
like the hey we.
Yeah. So and John's also
Commedia dell'arte.
and John, so dude, so and, yeah, so there's so many things about John. It's so funny. This character is so deep, but you know he's in like commercials. He's in like some random type TV shows. So he's like, oh, have you ever seen this fucking the Monkey Prince or whatever the fuck? And he'll constantly try to promote himself, and he's like, oh, we got a Thai TV star on tonight. You got to come watch the show.
Yeah.
And it's like it's him. It's the guy from the
guy
street that gave him the flyer.
Like, you want to check this show out? Yeah, he would literally say that. We have a Thai
We got
TV
a-
star
we
on
got a
tonight,
Thai
TV
and a
funny
black
episode.
guy.
Yeah. We got comedians from all over the world.
Yeah.
We got Thai guy. We got international. We got a TV star on. Yeah, no. But he would just do whatever it takes to sell, and pack the room. So that's credit to him again.
Yeah, and he spoke really fluent Thai. Which
Yeah, and
was
he
why
spoke
we were
Thai.
Actually
Really?
able to keep the thing going so
Yeah.
far. But he actually attracted a lot of different riffraff. Like a lot of different characters
Yeah.
would like be attracted to John, and he would just like
And-
take advantage of them in different ways.
So do you remember Rob? Do you remember the bald Swedish guy?
yeah, I do remember Rob,
So
the
Rob,
security guy, quote unquote.
so Rob comes in and he's this random bald Swedish dude, and he he's like the worst audience member in this show. He like heckles us and he's like just terrible. But after the show, he's drinking with us and trying to be cool with us, and turns out he's like an ex-convict from Sweden. Like he killed a guy or something like that. and he ran away to Thailand. And his plan was to like run away and live in this cave and grow weed or something like that. And what is it? Something happened and he like demonstrated some kind of authority, where like he told some guy to shut up or something. And John's like, hey man, you're pretty good. Like, hey, you want to be like security guard here? And it's like, John, maybe you shouldn't hire this guy. Like he's like out there on the street smoking meth and doing all this crazy shit.
Yeah, he was methed out.
Yeah. And I remember going to the security guard. I remember we'd go to the security guard and be like, we'd go to the hotel front desk and we'd say, don't disrespect to Rob. If you're ever listening to this shit, please don't kill us. But we'd be like, hey man, you know that guy, the bald Swedish guy? Like, don't let him in. Because he would come up to the hotel. He'd just come knock on the door. One time he knocked on my door like 6 a.m, and he begged me to take a shower so he could use my bathroom and take a shower. And I let him. And then he's like, can I get in bed with him? I'm like, what the fuck? Get the fuck out of here. What are you doing? He's fucking, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Bro, I'd never let him in my room.
Dude.
I literally would just pretend I wasn't home.
He was a very intimidating presence, but he was an intense dude, but he was whatever, man. He liked us. He loved us a lot. He thought we were great. And I thought there were parts of him that I really enjoyed. But I remember telling the hotel desk, like, hey, man, don't let this guy in, And then, 10 minutes later, he just walked right past the front desk, and go straight up to the room. And, no one, how the fuck is he's just everywhere, dude.
Always
Yeah.
finds a way in.
And I remember when he, I don't know what his plan, something happened and he had to go back. He was going to, he had, a change of heart and he was going to go back to Sweden and, turn himself in. Or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And remember, he when the day he left, the front desk called me and said, "Hey, your friend, the guy that you told us not to let in here."
This is the craziest part of the story.
He left a package for you, right? So I get this package, and in the package is a hammock, right?
Oh,
and I'm like,
that's nice.
okay, interesting, that's cool. Rob's chill.
All right.
And then I unroll the hammock, and there's a pair of brass knuckles and a switchblade, and all this shit in there. I'm like, what is this? Is this
Murder weapons.
Is this a threat or a murder weapon? What's
I remember us pondering that shit. Is this
I was
a
laughing
threat?
so hard.
It's like, yo,
What
you
is
pull
this
back
mean?
your bed sheets as a horse head over.
There's just finger, dismembered fingers in it.
Yeah.
There was this other guy, so I remember a potato Mike. Or
Yeah,
whatever?
Mike. Yeah, Mike, the former billionaire.
Yeah, so Mike was this guy. He's he used to be this really rich ass dude. He made millions of dollars doing something or whatever, and he decided one day to just leave his money with somebody and go off and fuck off in the woods, and then just find peace or inner peace or whatever. Just find himself in the woods, and after 6 months in the woods, he decided to come back to society and take his fortune and do something with it. But the person he left it with just used all his money and he had nothing. So he was penniless and he was wandering the streets of Khaosan. And then John found him and asked him to be our fry cook and make French fries and shit. and he would be in charge of getting the potatoes. and making French fries in this kitchen. And it's not a kitchen. It was
It was a dirty room
it was a
next to the
nasty,
trash
it was a
can.
nasty, dirty little greasy room with a little fryer in it that we tried to make a kitchen. It was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. But I remember he didn't have a house. He didn't have a place to stay. And I remember, he had a girlfriend that was probably a prostitute, right?
Definitely a prostitute.
Definitely a prostitute. We'll
this
just
guy
say
sounds
definitely
like a
prostitute.
cartoon character.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he looked
bad.
like a potato too. He was peeling potatoes. He was like peeling his own head. Looked like. But anyway, I remember one day I just overheard him. I was also tripping on acid this day, so it made it 10 times funnier. Do you remember we were tripping on acid?
Yeah, I do
one
remember
time?
that,
That was
yeah.
pretty insane. But I remember he asked John. He was like pleading with John. He was like, John, can me and my girlfriend please sleep in the kitchen tonight? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is crazy. And John's like, all right, you can sleep there, but just don't use any electricity. All right, don't turn on the lights. I don't want an electricity bill. That was pretty wild. And I remember one time he was like, his wife left him, and he was like really mad.
He was mad at John.
He was mad at
because-
John because John said you're not allowed to sleep with your wife anymore, right? So the wife went to go sleep somewhere else with like another dude.
Yeah. No, she started hoeing again.
Yeah, she started
She
hoeing
might have
again.
started prostituting.
Right.
And
Wow.
then Mike was super pissed. He was like, "You know what you did to my wife?"
Yeah, I remember one time, and then one time, me and Steve were walking outside, and I jokingly said, "Hey, Steve, remember when you fucked Mike's wife?" And I just said that as a joke,
God.
and he got like super upset. He got like really mad, dude. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I took it too far." It's pretty trying.
Yeah,
But
his wife was kind of cute though.
his wife was not cute at all.
Oh, actually, I can't remember. Maybe I'm wrong.
Not cute at all.
Not cute. His wife was gross. There was this other guy, another guy similar to Rob. He was from Australia though. His name was Jay. Shout out to Rob and Jay. Shout out to these guys because they have good hearts. But Jay was this dude. He was covered head to toe in tattoos, and I think his eyeballs were tatted too. He was he was just a scary looking dude. And he would talk to you. He would go up to your face and like talk 1 inch away from your face, and just talk like, yeah, dude, you want to fucking yeah. Like he would just be in your face like just talking hard as fuck. And you know, I don't know, for some reason he liked me. He liked us. He loved us because we would just sat there and like just took it. And you know,
Just tolerate him.
and
Tolerate this guy.
like he would come to the show and he would be clapping like hard as fuck, like, yeah, fuck yeah. Like he was just like way too intense for everything. And then after a show one day, he got to talking to John. And John, here's the thing: John would never take business advice from me or Steve ever. People that have sat there and watched the operation, he just wouldn't listen to us. But he would sit down and listen to these random crazy people. Hey, I have a great idea for how you can make this club better. Like he would just sit down and give them hours of his time, right? Which is hilarious, dude. It was just ridiculous. And anyway, so this guy that's covered head to toe in tattoos, and he was also fleeing Australia. He like killed somebody. He had brutally murdered somebody in Australia, and he was on the run. And John sat down with him, and like at the end of the conversation, John comes up to me afterwards, and he's like, "All right, so Jay's cool guy, man. Like we think we're gonna turn this into a nightclub after the show ends. We're gonna like Jay's gonna DJ. We'll get people in. We'll make some more money from the bar." I'm like, dude. That dude's gonna murder all of us. He's gonna, and I'm pretty sure I saw him smoke meth too. Like I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, all these guys smoke meth, by the way.
Yeah,
God.
tons of meth, dude. But I don't know what happened to him. I think he also ended up turning himself in. Everyone that like
Once
people
they experience John, they're like, you know what? I'm gonna go to jail.
I'm just gonna go to jail. I'm just gonna go to fucking jail, dude. That was the greatest time.
Yeah.
That's
I can't
crazy
believe
as
all
hell.
these eccentric people like existed in the same place.
Dude, it was
at the same
absolutely
time.
it was bananas, dude.
That's crazy as hell. He turned himself in and left you with the murder weapon and shit.
Yeah, dude. He was nuts. And there were some good guys. We had a guy like so there was another guy that we loved in our comedy scene named Doug. He was like an older guy. Doug was like 70 something, or he was probably like late 60s. And so he had moved to America. I'm sorry, he moved from America. He lived like in Hawaii, right? Old white dude. And he moved to Thailand, and he overstayed his visa by like 25 years or some crazy shit. He'd been there for he's just been there illegally for the longest time. And he was like our wise old man. He was like our master splinter.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, man.
I feel
And-
bad for calling him a pedophile so many times. Like I would
was
literally get on stage and say, "Hey, Doug's a pedophile."
Well, he loved Steve. He loved us. We were like his kids, but he's like Steve's this like uppity black kid. Who's this uppity little young black youngster? Fucking.
Yeah. One time I
He was-
remember
yeah.
he was like, we were like, you guys had left, you and Lex had left to go do something, and it's
Yeah.
just me and Doug sitting in the room, and I was like, hey man, maybe I can teach you some comedy. He was like, well, maybe I can teach you some English.
Dude, Doug was hilarious, dude. Doug was a great guy,
Yeah,
and he had dude, and he had like a library of just like very inappropriate sex stories from his tenure in Thailand, and he was absolutely wild.
So
I don't know if I don't even know if I should say this shit out here, but it's
Rest in peace, Doug.
rest in peace, dude. He was
Oh my
absolutely
God.
wild, dude.
That's like the most unironic, like slightly
It was just
inappropriate comeback.
Yeah.
Teach you how to play. I remember I told him a joke. So he loved street jokes. That was his favorite. His favorite thing. He was an old guy. He would tell us old street jokes, and I had an old street joke for him. I asked him. So this is gonna sound bad. I don't give a fuck. But he said. I asked him if he wanted to hear a street joke, and I told him. He said, "Of course, I want to hear the street joke." It's kind of racist. He's like, "Yeah, tell me, please tell me." I said, "How?" I said, "What has 4 legs and a black arm?" And he's like, "What?" And I said, "A police canine." and he almost died. He almost had a heart attack and died because he's laughing so hard. It was a terrible joke. Sorry about that. To all my black fans out there, sorry about that. But I was trying to make Doug laugh.
Yeah, he needed that laugh.
Yeah.
He was in his final
But
days.
Steve was there too. So, but yeah, he had all these crazy sex stories as well that were just. He's like, bro, I got boxes, man. I'll give them to you. I'm like, I don't want that shit. Like, you're not want any of that.
He had boxes. Wait, boxes of what?
Like old porn tapes he made, like old homemade pornos he made. and shit.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Those
dude.
are classics.
Doug was hilarious. Yeah, the classics. Dude. Doug was so wild, dude.
He's got the good stuff.
And he was and here's the thing, he rode a motorcycle around. He was like 70. He was driving his motorbike, and he'd just pop up. And,
Yeah, we'd smoke weed with him.
dude, and like we'd hang out with. Dude, I remember one time, like we'd hang out with girls, obviously, right? And like we'd have girls hanging out in the room with us, and he'd be like, "You're so beautiful," and like I remember one time, I was with this one hot ass chick, and he asked to like kiss her stomach or some shit, like some crazy shit. I'm like, what's going on right now?
Did she let him do it?
Yeah. I was just like, no. I did it for Doug. It was
Wait,
not-
did you kiss afterwards?
I struck out with that one. That's a sad thing.
Oh my
I did
god!
not hit that. But that was pretty wild. So like, and then Doug died. He had some disease, and he probably herpes, probably AIDS, and he died immediately. But no, I was joking. I love Doug, and he died. And I remember 2 things. I remember the day. So I went to his funeral, and I remember he was cremated at a Buddhist temple, right? And I remember right before they put him in the cremation thing, right before they put him in the furnace, some Thai guy took his shoes, dude. Yeah, dude, some Thai guy took his shoes. Oh, these are nice, and took them. like someone like ran his pockets and fucking took his shoes, dude. It was wild. It was absolutely so sad.
That's terrible.
And then later that day, I was yeah, it was absolutely, it was crazy. Don't get buried in Thailand. And I also remember I was smoking a cigarette, and I flicked a cigarette. This is a couple hours after the funeral. I flicked a cigarette, and it landed on the ground. It landed on the ground straight up and down like this.
Whoa.
And I was with Brian, and I was like, "Oh, dude, that's fucking Doug, right there." That's like Doug sending us a message from beyond the grave. I'm like the cigarette butt just standing straight up and down. And I'm like, Doug's watching us right now.
That's crazy.
Rip Doug.
Doug is great, dude.
Yeah, no, Doug was cool, man.
Doug was a fun dude. He was a fun kind of old-fashioned energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone in Thailand sounds fun. I mean, I'm like,
Yeah.
I cannot believe like
the
these
cops are fun.
unbelievable characters. Like,
I mean,
you
dude, I
guys
remember
have-
this other time there was this people would come and try to find drugs too. I don't know. Can we talk about drugs? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
It was in Thailand. So anyway, so we there was a guy that worked with us that like sold coke. Do you remember that guy? But he was like he stole like the worst smashed coke. It was like glass. It was like meth.
Yeah, it was like
probably-
it was ketamine. It was keta coke.
But anyway,
Cocaine.
this one random. It was like this British guy and a couple of his friends were at a show, and then they came up, and they wanted to buy coke, and they did the transaction in my room. And as soon as he got it, I might or might not have invited him to my room to just hang out and do it as well.
No, this was like one of the funniest nights. I remember this night, bro.
Dude, he poured out the whole bag.
Yeah.
He bought a lot of coke, and he poured it all out on my desk. And he just shoved his face in it. He like just put his face in it
that's
and just Scarfaced it. And then and then he died.
And he overdosed, right?
Wait,
Yeah,
Makes sense.
He pretty much
What?
died. He like
No
he
way
just
you're
was-
not dead after
he
that
died for
shit.
20 minutes
Yeah.
basically. It was crazy, and his friends fucked off. His friends left. His friends were scared and left. And I'm just in this bedroom with this fucking dead British guy basically.
That's crazy.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm so fucked. Like, what's gonna happen now?
Yeah, I'm going to fucking jail.
And like 20 minutes later, he woke up, and then he started puking everywhere.
Back
dude.
to life.
He came back to life, and he
Puking?
puked. And I had to I remember I caught his puke in a bucket, dude.
Projectile.
It was absolutely. I was like,
You
smoking
remember-
weed. I was like, hey,
Do you
cool.
remember there was
Hey,
like
welcome back. I was like, hey, welcome back, buddy.
back from the dead?
I knew you'd come back.
I'm literally
insane.
sweating.
There was another time. Remember we were hanging out with these Israeli. There's one Israeli chick, and like I think she was with a Canadian chick or something. But this Israeli chick was shit faced, and she was in our room hanging out, and we were all just partying whatever. And she was like, she's a fucking retard because we have my hotel room was like the size of a closet, and there's two doors. One's outside, one's to the bathroom, and she had to puke, and she went to the wrong door like a total idiot. And I remember Rick Diaz?
Yeah.
Right, remember Rick? So Rick was there. Rick, shout out to Rick. He just won the golden ticket on Kill Tony. Rick was doing shows on Khaosan with us. And he was in the bedroom, and the girl was about to puke on him, and Rick like moved out of the way, and she just projectile vomited all over my basket of clothes in the corner. She just threw up everywhere, and she's like, sorry. And then she like left.
Wow.
And it was like, wow, gotta deal with this drunk ass.
Oh God.
It was brutal, dude. That was a terrible night.
Yeah, on Khaosan Road, we dealt with a lot of vomit, bro.
There was a lot of great nights
A
too.
lot of vomit. Oh, yeah, I had so
Sounds
many fun
amazing.
This is the best nights.
I can't
ever.
remember any of them though, because I was drunk. I was like drunk or like off 100 balloons or something.
Yeah, dude, like the balloons, dude. Like people. Dude, there's people. I remember we'd go to like we periodically visit this balloon hut, but there would always be. Remember that one? There was like this one old lady that would just sit there, and she would just do like boxes upon boxes of balloons.
Yeah.
And, like her brain would just turn into a balloon.
That
Yeah.
sounds terrible.
When you
Turn
say
into a
balloons,
clown.
is it like actual like helium and
It's
stuff?
like nitrous oxide
Oh.
or carbon dioxide.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we should be
was just
smoking
doing-
poison.
Yeah, and she would just be sitting there huffing balloons for
Inhaling
like
poison.
hours, dude. I'm like, are you hello? Like, what the
The
fuck
high
is going on?
comes from brain damage.
Yeah,
Absolutely ridiculous.
yeah, bro. I used to make
Jesus.
some bad choices.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. Remember Danny?
I do remember Danny. Did you meet Danny in Texas? He said he was in Texas.
Yeah, he was in San Antonio or something, so we didn't make it out to see him.
Oh,
We
yeah.
had planned to initially,
Danny Stone, Britain. He was
What?
a Chinese guy with a British accent. It's
and
the
dude, like
most
he
weird
sounds
thing.
he was like he was like a 13-year-old boy. I remember, so like I sold a little bit of weed. I sold some weed, and then but I remember, so Danny's like this Chinese dude. He's from Chongqing, China, or some shit, and he's like an oil. He like does oil executive shit, but he's literally like a 13-year-old boy. Like that's how he behaves, like a little ass kid. I remember I was tripping on acid. Or I don't know. Can I say that?
Yeah,
we were
sure,
on
bro.
acid. Yeah, we were tripping. We were tripping balls.
Yeah.
We were on acid, tripping balls, and like I couldn't even like. Danny was just like a cartoon. He was just damn like, and he just kept on dancing. And I
remember that shit.
And I remember Steve fell down. Like Steve like almost died. He like couldn't breathe. He's like, Danny, just stop. I can't even stop. He's like, Danny,
Bro,
don't look at me.
This little fucking cartoon Chinese guy. He
he's
was
just
literally
dancing.
like, he was just dancing around.
it's-
What's going on?
And Steve's on the ground. He's like, Danny, stop. Like, Danny, no, I'm gonna die. Like, please stop. And it was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Danny, he bought some weed off me. So Danny hooked up for somehow, probably because he's got money. He hooked up with this like 10 Russian chick. She's like a smoking hot bombshell of a Russian chick, blonde, tall. Just like, it was just like, how the fuck did that happen, right? And Danny's like hanging out with her, and I'm like, Danny, like you gotta like don't blow this, dude. You got it. And then he's like, cool. Like, and I gave him some weed, or I sold him some weed. And he goes to smoke it with his hot Russian chick, right? And I'm like, Danny, don't smoke this outside because cops will arrest you if they smell it. They'll find you, they'll search you, they'll arrest you, and you'll have to pay a fine or whatever the fuck. And so Danny, of course, takes my weed and then goes outside to his hostel, which is like next to the police station, and smokes it right outside, and gets caught right? And then like an hour later, I'm in my hotel room, and I get a call from Danny, and he's like, "Hey Chris, what's up, man?" And I'm like, "What's up, Danny? Are you okay?" He's like, "No, I got arrested for smoking weed." And I'm like, "Where are you?" He's like, "I'm at the police station. Can you come get me?" You know. And I'm like, "Danny, I'm the one that sold you that weed. Like, I'm not coming to the police station to bail you out. Like, in fact, hang up right now and fucking, like, what are you doing, kid?" Like, it was ridiculous. And then the Russian girl ended up bailing him out, and he didn't get laid at all.
Hey.
Which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Fucking Danny, good guy, fun Danny. He's a
That's
cartoon though.
That
Yeah.
sounds hilarious.
Yeah, lots of drugs, lots of fun, lots of sex, all that good stuff in
Yeah.
Thailand. Man, you can get it all in one
Yeah.
place.
I'll never forget.
All from Danny, actually.
All
Get it
from
all
Danny.
from Danny.
I'll never forget when we want to talk about how Lex pushed John.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
that
Yeah, no,
one
was
time,
great.
dude. So like Lex and John Lex is this other comic, and I don't know. He was unhappy with the conditions that we were working in, and it all came to a head one night. We were out drinking, and like on Khao-san, you drink outside and you sit on these little plastic stools, dude, right?
Yeah.
And John and Lex were both drunk, and John was like calling Lex a bitch or something, and Lex was like, "Call me a bitch one more time.
Yeah, he's
See
like,
what
"Say
happens.
one more time."
Saw me whip." And then John's like, "You're a bitch." And then Lex got up and then pushed John as he was sitting on the stool, and like John like, "Whoa!" and he fell backwards, dude.
And this is a 400-pound man.
right, and
Oh
this,
my God.
and it's a
yeah.
little tiny plastic stool, and it went back on the back two legs of the stool, and the stool just exploded into like a trillion pieces, dude. And John's like, "Whoa!" and he just fell back. It was so bad. I was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
It was absolutely brutal, dude. And,
Everybody was drunk.
and,
like,
and the thing is, like, and John was so mad because he just got like disrespected in public around all these Thai people that he like holds to very high esteem. He's like all the shopkeepers and stuff. He's like, "No, you look like a fucking. You made me look like a bitch in front of the whole street." Yeah, he got punked out by like people that are flipping, doing the pad thai and selling the t-shirts on the street. Like he got punked out in front of the community. So he was like super upset. No one gave a fuck. It was whatever.
yeah.
But I mean, the cops came. It was like it was hilarious, dude. And I remember I was with a girl. I'm like, fucking, I'll see you guys later. I was like, "You guys take care of this."
Yeah. All right. Well,
There, if
you got more?
I got two more things. There was a time, so I remember I was walking down Casa. These are good stories that don't involve anybody.
Love stories.
Exploding the stool.
fun stories, not sex stories. There's a ton. We want to talk about sex stories, bro. We got hours, but no. I remember the one time two good things I did on Khao-san. Besides, I wasn't just a complete degenerate on Khao-san. There was a time I was walking down the street on the other side by Rambu Tree, right? And there was like this big commotion happening in front of this hotel. And I went into the hotel to see what was happening. And there was like a Swedish guy, and he just got stabbed.
Damn.
And he had this crazy stab wound, right? Goddamn, exactly. That's what he was like. And he was like on the ground, and there was like no one helping him. So I put pressure on the wound and got someone to call an ambulance, right? And then I walked him out to the ambulance, and I like pretty much saved him from bleeding out basically by putting pressure on that wound.
Didn't you like save some little boys too or something?
Yeah, so saved him from the cave.
Oh god.
No, but so yeah, and that was a different story. So this other time, that there's a back alley behind the club, behind the whole street. There's this back alley, and I was walking down this alley one day, probably gonna get pussy or drugs, and anyway, I come across this little Indian kid. He's like probably 18. He's like 18-year-old Indian kid, and he's like on the ground and he's all fucked up. He's got like a massive. He's got a crazy kind of laceration injury on his head, right? And I'm like, holy shit, what just happened? And he told me that some guys just beat the fucking shit out of him with a pipe, you know?
Jesus.
And like, sure enough, there was like a pipe near him, and
I'm so sorry. I sincerely apologize. Continue.
and he was bleeding from his head. It was bad, dude. And I'm like, dude, we gotta get you to a hospital. We gotta get you. There was no one around. It was crazy. Whoever beat him left him for dead, and so like he couldn't even walk. I took him. I carried him in my own arms, and I was walking towards like the main road. I was walking down the rest of the alley. I probably had another 100 yards to go, and so I'm carrying him, right? And then all of a sudden, you know, I take a couple steps, or I walk maybe 20, 30 feet, and then he starts having this crazy fucking seizure, right?
Jeez.
So I set him on the ground, and he's just having this crazy fucking seizure on the ground, so I hold his head still so he doesn't fucking, have more of a head injury. And I'm trying to keep pressure on this open wound. And he's having this crazy fucking seizure. And then he just, he does like this. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, whoa, this dude just, died in my arms. That's fucking crazy.
Oh, my God.
Right? And I'm screaming. I'm like, yo, fucking, I was screaming because, there's all these shops, but they're closed in this back alley. And so luckily somebody heard me. They came out. And I told them, call an ambulance right now. This guy's going to die. And so they called up an ambulance. And he came back to life. He came back. And he wasn't. He just did one of these. I thought he was dead. He wasn't dead. And I carried him to the front of this shop where there was some light, and I just put hella pressure on this wound, and out of 5-10 minutes later, this ambulance rolls up, or these paramedics roll up with a stretcher from the street, and they take him and they start stitching him up, and and then I walk with him to the ambulance, and he's like, I said, and he did, and then they took him away, and he didn't even say thank you,
What an asshole.
Probably because he was unconscious, but
Yeah, he probably didn't even know who the fuck he was. Why is this fucking
You're a
weirdo?
hero, man. You're a
Why is this-
hero.
Why is this weirdo anywhere near me?
yeah. I'm a
You
guardian.
saved his life, though. You're a hero.
Yeah. Yeah. I was the guardian of Khao-san. That was my real duty. There. That's my real purpose.
Can you remember
Wow.
John's he ma joke?
Yeah.
Can you tell it?
Do I want it? Do I want it?
No, you don't have to.
I don't know. The Hema. I don't even know how it goes, really. I've heard it so many times. It's like,
I just wanted to hear it. I haven't heard a
Hema-
verbatim
Hema
John
mama.
Sampson joke in so long. It's like,
well, so the Thai word for pussy is, the Thai word for dog pussy is the same word for snow. I'm going to butcher it. I have no idea. Anyways, you got to go check out John Sampson.
yeah,
if
check
you're in
out John
Bangkok.
Sampson online. He's probably got tons of content. He does
He's
Thai
he's
TikToks.
massive on TikTok in Thailand, I think.
Yeah,
So,
I heard.
shout out to John.
Yeah,
But
you got any more stories for us?
I mean, you want to talk about fuck story? I remember. I don't know if I'll get in trouble for this. I'll tell it. You can edit it out if it's too much.
Okay.
I remember one time we went to Burger King.
Yeah, I do.
So
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I do.
so
bad about Burger
I
King.
was at Burger King. I hope my girlfriend never watches this.
I do remember this.
Oh, no.
So I went to Burger King, and it's the night's over, whatever. We're hanging out, and I'm getting food. It's me, John, and Steve, and we're getting food at Burger King. And then there's this hot ass chick. Well, she's all right. She's all right. She's all right. But she's looking at me. She's really into me. I can tell. So I go over there. I place my order, and then I go out and I talk to her, and I asked her to come outside with me. And when I take her outside, I put the moves in. I start making out with her, and then it's decided all right, well, hey, I live right there. Why don't we just want to come back to my room?
Quarter pounder.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I said I'm going to the room with this chick. I didn't even care about my food anymore. I'm just I'm peacing out. See you later. So I go back to the hotel room to start banging this chick. And then halfway through banging her, John and Steve knock on my door and hand me the Whopper and fucking fries and the hash browns.
Wow.
Right. And I probably did eat French fries off her bag and shit. As I was fucking her.
Oh,
I don't
my
know.
God.
But anyway, so fast forward 3 weeks. She calls me up and she's like, I'm pregnant, and I'm like, what do you want to do about this? And I'm like, all right, well, why don't we get, one of those abortions? Let's get an abortion. Let's go. I met you at Burger King, and I don't even know. That's not I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, and then so she got that taken care of, and then she sent me a bill. She sent me a receipt, and she's like, just split it. She's like, just split it. Let's just split it. And guess how much an
Split the
abortion
bill.
costs in Thailand?
How much?
It's
1,000
$20.
baht.
That's $30. It costs 5,000 baht for an abortion, and then she made me pay half of that.
30
Okay,
bucks.
it's not too bad.
So
not
I paid
bad at all.
I paid $75. So I was just the whole story is that a Whopper combo meal is that was pretty expensive Whopper combo meal I had that night. To tie that up in a bow.
Oh,
To tie a bow on that.
God.
It's pretty brutal.
That's hilarious.
There's a lot.
crazy.
There was plenty. I mean, trying to think of there was one time I hooked up with this chick. So this chick saw me do a set, and I have a joke in my set about I ask, hey, make some noise if you wear condoms. Right, this is my old material. I was like, make some noise if you wear condoms, and no one will clap. And I would say, hell yeah, you guys are my people. And then something about like I hate when I'm watching porn and the dude's wearing a condom. You know, like I don't want to watch your fucking. I don't want to jerk off to your safe sex. Something like that. And I was like, take that condom off, you pussy. Catch your disease, motherfucker. And then like there was a girl in the audience that night, and I ended up hooking up with her, and I asked her like before I fucked her, I'm like, should I put it? I pulled a condom out. She's like, no. And then she said, catch your disease, motherfucker. Yeah. Like,
No.
yeah. She turned it right on me, and then
Was this that white girl? Was this that white girl?
That was a white girl.
Holy
Did you
shit.
catch a disease?
It was wild. I did not catch the disease.
My God.
I caught feelings. No, I'm sorry.
Can I ask a side question? Do you know for a fact that other girl had an abortion?
See, I've always thought of this, and she sent me a receipt from like a clinic, so
Good
I feel
point,
like
man.
she did.
Or there could be a little.
You ever see
little
her again?
Raufeisen running around.
Yeah,
She's
she-
messaged me.
Imagine.
I swear to God that she's messaged me to hang out before, like, to come over and stuff and hang out again. I'm like, you trying to get another
Introduce
abortion?
you to
Like,
her
what's
son.
up?
Yeah.
Trying to go round two?
This is your son.
Yeah,
It's like a
exactly.
little kid playing soccer in
I
the
don't know.
backyard.
I've had a couple of pregnancy scares, honestly. I don't want to come off too promiscuous because I got a very great girlfriend right now that I totally love.
She
And,
doesn't even speak English. It's fine.
that's terrible. She's a sweetheart. She can put the
Google
pieces together,
Translate
baby.
exists.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, there's just tons of. There's this one time, I mean, fuck, man. You know, one time I was on the street partying, and then I was at this like bar, and I walked into the bathroom, and there was a girl taking a piss. Right, it was like a cute Irish chick with red hair. She was like taking a piss or maybe a shit. I don't know, but she was sitting on the toilet, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then I went out drinking. I kept on drinking later that night, and then like 4 hours later, it's like 4 a.m, some crazy shit. I happened to just run into her right in front of my hotel, and I'm like, oh my God, you're the girl that I saw taking a shit earlier. I'm like, hey, what's up? And we started laughing, and I'm like, you want to go upstairs? You want to go smoke some weed? And then like I took her upstairs. I don't think we even went to my bed. I think we went straight to the roof of the hotel.
The balcony.
And so we would go to the roof of the hotel, and that's where we would mac on on chicks. That was like the spot, the secret spot. And I remember I fucked her on the roof of this hotel as the
Nice.
sun was coming up. And I remember at some point in time, like there was like some kind of handyman came up and saw everything, and I was like whatever, dude. I'm fucking a white chick. Like fuck off. Like, fucking that white pussy, bro. What you know about that? Shit was wild. So, and I think I'll wrap up with. Do you remember Martin?
I do remember Martin, one-eyed Cyclops Martin.
Cyclops.
So Martin was this
That's
Dutch.
the coolest nickname I've ever
Martin
heard.
was a guy. He was a Dutch dude, and he was like a brand new open micer to comedy. But he was visiting Thailand, and he wanted to do time at our club, right? So like John would give him 3 minutes and stuff, and he was blind. Like he couldn't. He was blind as fuck, and he'd be like really close in your face to talk to you, and like
Yeah.
he's a fun guy though. He's hilarious.
He was cool.
But when I first met him, I absolutely hated him because like after a show, we would go out and just try to mac on whatever the hottest chicks that were at the show were. That was like the strategy, you know. But he would like, it was a hierarchy. It was all right. Well, I'm a regular. I gotta, you know, I should get first pick, right? That sounds kind of shitty, but he would come and he would cock block me. He would go and talk to the hottest chicks, and they would,
yeah.
and then they would like ugh, and then they'd leave, right? And he would literally just, I would be talking to a chick, and he would just literally just come in and just try to spit game at him, right? And like I remember I told him about the roof. I'm like, if you ever want to hook up with a girl, you can go to the roof, maybe, you know, like that would be a good spot. But just if I'm there, just don't. Like, get the fuck out of there, because that's I have first dibs, basically. I was really shitty about it. I was like, I got dibs on these bitches. But I remember bringing up, I remember, like, hanging out with I, like, met this chick, and I was trying to take her to the roof to make out with her. And I was like, yeah, this is, like, a secret spot. No one knows about it. It's special, you know. No one knows about this spot. And I get up there, and Martin's, like, spitting game at this chick on the roof at the exact spot that I'm like, oh,
He
my God.
just ruined it.
He would just ruin everything. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you just...
You ruined the secret.
He
Lying.
shouldn't have shared the
Game
secret with him.
it was
That
absolutely-
roof was magical though.
That was the
roof
spot. That was a
Sir
great
Steve
spot.
lost
Many
his virginity.
that's where many go on a great night. That's where we finished many a great night on that roof.
just
But,
finished.
Yeah. But anyway, I had like, remember me and Martin, we had like, because it got out of hand. It was like, Martin, it's just, I remember I went like, I went a week without getting pussy. I'm like, Martin, this is out of, like, we got to do something about this. This is not acceptable, dude.
It's just not, this is not kosher.
This is not cool.
That's
and like,
hilarious.
I remember I pulled him to the side and had a talk with him. I'm like, listen, bro, here's the deal. All right. How about like after the show, I'll go talk to the chick that I like. You just give me space and you talk to another chick. All right. And if she shuts me down, then it's open and it's fine. Then you go for it. Right. Don't just barge in and just try to take her from me. Like there's enough for everybody. And like at some point in time, I was like, all right, how about this? I get like China, Canada, I'll get Ireland, I'll get Australia. You can take like Russia, South Africa, Brazilian shit. Like you can take, like, we tried to divide the map up like that too at some point. We had to like a treaty. We had like a peace treaty. But it ended up being fine, man. Like whatever. It was a lot of fun though. And he was blind as fuck. And I told him that I was like, you should start your comedy. Like he's like, how should I start my comedy set? And I was like, you should go on stage and just face the completely wrong direction and just start telling jokes because you're blind. And it
actually
never
worked.
Yeah.
Did he do it?
No. He did it once, I think, and it worked, but he just felt self-conscious about being blind.
Yeah, I remember it working.
But I was like, you know what it's like to get your girl
Blind pussy?
taken by a
What?
blind guy? You know what it's like to get your girl, just you're macking on a chick and then someone takes her and he's blind and it's like, what?
I didn't at all. I didn't think at all.
Like, you can't even see what these
over.
bitches look like. You're just taking my chick. You're just doing it because you don't like me. It felt very personal.
It's hilarious. How blind was he? Was he like just vision impaired or like
He had
actually
one
just all
eye
black?
completely missing, like literally.
Oh,
shit.
oh, okay.
Martin was fun.
Ouch.
Yeah, he was a fun dude. He was hilarious. Shout out to Martin. Fun guy.
Well,
That sounds great.
Tons of good stories, man. We
Tons
got to
of
have
good
you on again to tell
Thank you.
more. I got to do a little more preparation. in
Yeah,
terms-
bro. We got some. I got a lot more in the vault, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
All right, guys.
That was great.
So we're trying to actually move into like doing a little bit more interview content when possible. So thanks for watching this. Definitely check us out on social media at The Cold Podcast, as well as YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all platforms where you can find audio and video. Also Patreon, $5 a month gets you the entire backlog of My Black Friends podcast, as well as any exclusive content we make for The Cold Podcast in the future. Thanks again for popping in. We got to pop out of here.
All right. Peace.